What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two new upcoming packages, the physical infrastructure package named the American Jobs Plan, and the next stimulus package named the American Families Plan that they're negotiating on right now, as well as daily news, which we haven't been able to cover very much because the stimulus news has just been crazy. President Biden has announced a deal for the infrastructure package. However, we have some kind of twists and turns that have happened since then that I would have never seen happen. We're going to go over the latest details and kind of the new details that have even formed since the last video just a few hours ago. So yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy time. Stimulus news is really heating up. They're really moving forward with these packages, and the real question is how are they going to pass them? Are they going to pass them with a bipartisan deal, which President Biden just announced that today? I'll give you the details on that here in a second to show you in black and white so you believe it. I always get a few comments from like a random person that says, "What are you talking about? There's no deal." And I'm like, I just showed you the article right on screen. You got to read it black and white. And even in the last video, I showed Nancy Pelosi talking, physically talking about what she said, about the twists and turns that she's kind of threw this curveball at us. And it's just, you just can't make everybody happy, right? But yeah, that's why I show you these articles directly on the screen. So you know it's true. You know this is in black and white. You know what's going on. You know it's a trustworthy source. And then I'll kind of explain everything to you. And guys, let you know what kind of the options are going forward, what could happen, what could not happen, and so on and so forth. So don't worry, I'll be here every day giving you the truthful news, unbiased, not Republican, not Democrat, but I will let you know the dirt on each side when it comes up to play. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's completely free to do so. Remember that new videos come out every day on this channel at 10 a.m. 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, hit the like button. It just tells YouTube that you like my videos and that I'm doing a good job and that they should show my video to other people that probably need to know this information. All right, let's jump right in. Okay, first up, President Biden announces a deal, a bipartisan deal on the infrastructure package. As you can see here in black and white, in fact, here is the president himself initially announcing this. Do we have a deal?
How'd it go, sir?
To get everybody out.
Notice Joe Manchin's there with him,
Everybody come on up.
and Kirsten Sinema.
We had a really good meeting. And to answer your direct question, we have a deal. And I think it's really important. We've all agreed that none of us got what we wanted. I clearly didn't get all I wanted. They gave more than I think maybe they were trying to get in the first place. This reminds me of the days we used to get an awful lot done up in the United States Congress. We actually worked. We got bipartisan deals. Bipartisan deals need compromise. One of the things that I've made clear, I've signed on, and I'm going to let them give you the detail because you can ask them. I will talk to you all later, next hour or two, whatever. I promise you I'm not going away.
So yeah, the audio wasn't the greatest there, but that's President Biden announcing that he has come to a deal with a bipartisan Republican and Democratic senator group for the physical infrastructure part of the package, which is about $1.2 trillion, which will be $600 billion in new federal spending. And they will also use $600 billion of the stimulus money that is available right now. As I've said, if you've been watching this channel, you'll know that there's around $2 trillion of unspent stimulus money from the past 6 stimulus packages, 5 that former President Trump passed, 1 by current President Biden, 6 packages in total. There's about $2 trillion in unspent stimulus money that is available, and they're like repurposing it, okay? They can do this for stimulus checks. I'll get to that here in a second. But number one, they're going to take around $600 billion of it and use it for the physical infrastructure package if this all goes through as planned. There's a couple kind of difficulties in the road, hurdles in the road that I'm going to tell you here that have just kind of come up about. So they're going to take $600 billion of the $2 trillion stimulus money that's already passed and use it as repurpose money for half of this physical infrastructure package. $350 billion is also going to states, cities, and counties on this as well. And of course, we have state stimulus checks and county stimulus checks and state stimulus programs that are being announced almost every single day now. We just had California announce a $5 billion stimulus package for rent assistance for Californians. New York has announced $3.5 billion. I'll be updating you that on the state stimulus checks and state stimulus programs as they kind of come out. But after the $350 billion going to states and cities and the $600 billion, if and when they use that for the infrastructure package, that still leaves $1.1 trillion of stimulus money that's already approved, but has not been spent through various programs, like money for the airlines, money for the restaurant industry, maybe some unemployment money in there, paycheck protection program, like all these different programs that have money that's still sitting around. Okay. Um, they could use this for a stimulus check. Okay. In fact, that's increasing in popularity right now to use this extra money for a stimulus check. But they can't just do it automatically. You can't just send somebody in there into a treasury vault and just have them grab $400 billion, which is about the cost of a $1,400 stimulus check, the third stimulus check. That's how much it costs. You can't just send somebody in there and grab it. It has to be repurposed, which means they have to vote on it. Okay. Now, I think that would be an easy vote, even to get Republican support on that if they needed it, because it's money that's already spent. It's money that's already printed, I should say, and it's available. So it's stimulus money that's already been accounted for. It's already been passed. It's already been printed. And even though they don't really print all this money nowadays, it's just done on a computer, right? They just add a comma and then there's $1 trillion. But yeah, that could be where we end up seeing another stimulus check or two. There's actually enough money for almost 3 stimulus checks of $1,400 or 5 stimulus checks of $1,000 if they use that additional money for stimulus. This is after they already take the money, the $600 billion, and use it for the infrastructure package. So that is a very real possibility. However, since President Biden has announced this deal with Republicans and senators, notice that Joe Manchin was there and Kirsten Sinema, so it has a very high chance of passing, except for these new hurdles that have kind of come in. But some people are praising this. Some people are saying, good job. Let me show you. Okay, first let me show you what Nancy Pelosi said. Then I'll show you what President Biden said. Both of these shocked me when I first found out of them. Nancy Pelosi says there is no bipartisan bill unless the Senate also approves a Democrat-only infrastructure package. That is the second part of the Build Back Better package, which you guys know as the American Families Plan, which is basically a stimulus package. There's about 20 different stimulus items in there that they're currently negotiating on right now. Stimulus checks, possible monthly stimulus checks, Social Security raises, Medicare expansion to include additional Medicare benefits like hearing, dental, vision, and hearing aids. 2 years of free college, 2 years of free preschool, possibly $25,000 in student or new home buyer tax credits or down payments, student loan forgiveness, all these things, right? Nancy Pelosi saying that that she won't even let the bipartisan bill get voted on the House floor unless the Senate also approves a reconciliation process bill, which is the next stimulus package. Remember, they call the second package the American Families Plan. It's also known as a social infrastructure package. These packages originally started off as one plan known as the Build Back Better package, which they split into two to try to pass them easier. It's harder to pass a larger package like that because you get some people that they don't like one thing in the package and they won't vote for it, right? So I think it is easier to get all these deals done by doing the bipartisan deal with Republicans and Democrats on the physical infrastructure package. That's part one. Part two is the social infrastructure package known as the American Families Plan, known as the next stimulus package, because almost everything in there is stimulus items. Medicare raises, possible Social Security raises, possible stimulus checks, more rent assistance, 2 years of free college. All these things are like basically stuff for the people, right? They either put money in your pocket or they give you additional benefits like Medicare benefits or a free college or free preschool, all these different things, right? So Nancy Pelosi is saying that she will not put it on the floor for a vote. Remember, the House Speaker can do that. She's in control of the House. and the Senate Majority Leader, who's now Chuck Schumer, used to be Mitch McConnell, who used to pull that card all the time. If he didn't like a bill, whether it passed the House and there was enough votes to pass it in the Senate or not, he just didn't put it on the floor. Nancy Pelosi is now doing this and saying, yeah, what we need to do is that bill with the bipartisan group agreement is great. But we need to also have the Senate pass the next stimulus package, which will, even she's saying it's going to be through the reconciliation process. I said this all along too. But she's just kind of ensuring that both of those bills pass the Senate. And when they both pass the Senate, then they can send them over to the House of Representatives, and then the House will pass them both. She's basically saying, and this is how everybody thought it was going to be, that the infrastructure package, if there was a deal, they would pass it with the Republicans in the Senate. It does not have to pass in the House first. A lot of people think that. It's not true. They're going to pass this in the House first, okay? And then we thought the infrastructure package would go to they're going to pass it in the Senate first, the infrastructure bill. Then they would send it to the House. We'd pass it. It'd be done. Then they'd work on the next stimulus package. And Nancy Pelosi says, no, 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 no. I'm the Speaker of the House, and that's not what I want. What she's saying is, you guys can pass the infrastructure package with a bipartisan group. That's great. That's actually preferred. But what she's saying is, then you have to go and pass the next stimulus package in the Senate, the American Families Plan, which has all these different stimulus items that could or could not be in there. We don't know what's all going to be in there because they're still negotiating on it. They're going to probably negotiate on it until the day they make a deal, and then they'll vote on it the next day or two or three. Okay, so yeah, there's all these different stimulus items, checks, Social Security raises, Medicare raises, all these different things that could be in there, and a lot of them will probably be in there. Will they all be in there? No, absolutely not. There will not be. I mean, I guess there's a 1% possibility, but I remember I follow this stuff pretty good on a daily basis, so I have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Although this Nancy Pelosi thing totally threw me a curveball out of left field because I don't think anybody's seen that coming. So she's saying now we have to pass both of them in the Senate. If you just pass one, I'm not going to vote on the other one because I want to make sure that that stimulus package gets passed. It's okay to pass it through the reconciliation process. All that really means is that people like Senator Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema have to vote yes on it, or else they're going to kill both deals. And by kill them, I mean just delay them, because they're going to pass these bills either way. And in fact, I have some really good news from Joe Manchin. But first, let me show you what President Biden said. President Biden sides with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and says that he won't sign the bipartisan bill without the reconciliation bill either. So he sided with Nancy Pelosi. And the reconciliation bill, just think stimulus package. That's basically what they're the same thing with it, right? Now, the interesting thing is, if you kind of think about this behind the scenes, did Nancy Pelosi kind of do this on her own? Kind of maybe, dare I say, against President Biden a little bit? Again, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm just kind of talking out loud here as a realist. Did she just come out of left field and kind of say this? Or did they maybe strategize on this behind closed doors? Did they say, okay, Nancy, you be the one to go and say, well, I'm not going to let the infrastructure pass unless they both pass, just to make sure that they both pass? Or do you think she did this on her own as just kind of like, hey, I got to stand my ground here, and we need to make sure both these packages pass? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think Nancy Pelosi went a little bit rogue here and then kind of forced President Biden to agree with her and say, okay, yeah, that's what, or do you think they planned this all along? Now, and remember, she could have gone rogue here, because we've seen this with Mitch McConnell. I mean, most notably, that $1,400 stimulus check that President Trump, when he was president at the time, wanted that. He said these $600 stimulus checks are not enough. They need to be $2,000. We need to add a $1,400 stimulus check in there called the Cash Act. Nancy Pelosi passed it in the House, and it went to the Senate, and Mitch McConnell said, no, 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 bro, I'm sending this to the graveyard. And he did, and we never got that check. And we did eventually get that $1,400 check from when President Biden came in office, but that was months later. And we probably missed out on a whole additional check there. So Mitch McConnell went against the president, who was Trump at the time. So it's not unthinkable to think that Nancy Pelosi did that. But President Biden has kind of come out and said that he agrees with Nancy Pelosi. He really doesn't kind of have a choice, because the House Speaker controls the House. just like the Senate Majority Leader controls the Senate. So they can do whatever they want. And we've seen Mitch McConnell do that against President Trump at times. But Biden has sided with Nancy Pelosi and says he won't sign a bipartisan deal without a reconciliation process bill. So they're going to pass these next two packages kind of at the same time, but it looks like as two separate packages. Now, here's the interesting thing. Senator Joe Manchin, Democratic senator from West Virginia, who's kind of been the swing vote, he's kind of a thorn in the side of the Democrats, but he does ultimately almost all the time vote with the Democrats. He says that a Democratic-only infrastructure bill is inevitable. Now, what's interesting about this is that we're not sure if he's talking about the whole infrastructure package bill, basically part one and part two, infrastructure and social infrastructure stimulus package combined, or if he's talking about just basically the second part of the infrastructure, the stimulus package, passing it Democratic only is inevitable. Here's his quote. Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat from West Virginia, said today that it was, quote, inevitable the Democrats would move forward with a separate Democrat-only infrastructure package. It was just a question of the size and the scope of it. He says, quote, reconciliation is inevitable because basically Republicans, I understand, on the tax, they don't want to undo anything from the 2017 bill, aka the Trump tax cuts from 2017. For those that didn't vote for 2017, there should be some adjustments. I'm open to that. Manchin's remarks are a huge boon for Democrats because they partly need all 50 of its members to support reconciliation. And Joe Manchin's basically saying here that he knows that the reconciliation process is inevitable, basically showing support from it, I think. Quote, there's going to be a reconciliation bill. We just don't know what size it's going to be, said Senator Joe Manchin. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says that Thursday that he wants to vote on a bipartisan bill and the budget resolution that lays the groundwork for the multi-trillion-dollar Democratic bill in July. Quote, today was a big step forward in the two-step strategy, Chuck Schumer says. Our plan continues to have a budget resolution and a bipartisan bill on the floor in the Senate in July. Everyone in our caucus knows you can't do one without the other. So, Senator Joe Manchin says he knows that a reconciliation bill is inevitable. Not quite sure if he's talking about just the stimulus package on its own or if he thinks that the bipartisan deal is going to break down and they're going to have to pass them both together through reconciliation. I don't think that's the case. I think he's talking about the next stimulus package. He knows it's going to have to be passed through reconciliation because he says it's because of the tax raises, which he's actually, I guess, kind of showing some support there that he might be in favor of them. But I think more importantly is he knows that not a single Republican voted yes on the third stimulus check package. So they're certainly not going to vote yes on a fourth stimulus check package. And remember, that's one of the items that over 100 different Democrats are pushing for, a fourth stimulus check, a possible monthly stimulus check. That is an official bill introduced in the Senate by Senator Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, and it's also backed by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Bernie Sanders for $2,000 monthly stimulus checks that would go until the pandemic is declared over. The other bill from the U.S. House of Representatives that is co-written by Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib from Michigan, and even more importantly is Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal, who's the leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus, which is about half of all the Democrats in the House of Representatives, like 100 different people. Their bill is for a one-time $2,000 stimulus check, then followed by $1,000 monthly recurring payments that would go until 1 year after the pandemic is declared over. So a guaranteed minimum of 12 months of $1,000 stimulus checks if they go this route. And we really actually have a lot of support for these monthly checks. I mean, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is behind them. Senator Bernie Sanders, who's the Senate Budget Chairman, the person in charge of the reconciliation process. We also have Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib too, but Pramila Jayapal, she's the leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus, which is the largest group of Democrats in the House. So there's a lot of support for these monthly checks. This is kind of in addition to the monthly checks that are already going out for the child tax credits. but they're only passed for 1 year, $250 to $300 per month per child, starting on July 15th. I have a very important video I just did a few days, maybe a day or so ago, about those checks starting on July 15th. I'll link you to here at the end of this video, along with state stimulus checks and county stimulus checks that are going out. So we cover all these different stimulus check programs here on the channel. So don't miss any episodes. New videos come out every day here on this channel at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below and click the bell icon to all notifications to get reminder notifications when we go live. Subscribing is completely for free. You can click this top video here to watch my newest video about state, city, and county stimulus checks. This top video over here, if you have children or any of your family members have children, that's about the child checks going out. And this bottom video is my newest video about the Social Security raise. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.